Hi, so excited to be here with you this morning. We have 30 minutes packed full of amazing strategies, tools, skills you can use to transform what social studies instruction looks like in your classroom. I am super excited to talk to you all about this morning. I am an educator at heart. This is my 10th year in education. Social studies is my jam. So excited to be able to talk to you all about social studies this morning. Listen, you can follow at Q Jackson SS Rocks on Twitter, on Instagram. You can let everyone know about the amazing things that we learned together here this morning. But now I think it's about time for us to get this party started. Talk about and implement transformative social studies instruction with technology. So what's on our agenda today? We're going to talk about engagement in social studies, technology in social studies, and building classroom culture that supports social studies instruction in an engaging, informative, immersive manner. Now, I always like to start these sessions with a little quote. And today it is learning because my ancestors still speak. I am a lifelong learner. I love to learn. And today what I want you to do is to learn your way. Listen, you can press pause to practice whenever the feeling hits you. So as we're going through and I talk about these different instructional technologies, just hit that pause button, go to that website or go to the link or whatever it is and practice, because practice is going to help you get better. I don't believe practice makes perfect, but I do believe that practice makes better. And the better we get, the better it looks, the better it feels, and the better the learning transfers to every student sitting in your classroom. If you're looking for some good books to read to help you understand why transformative instruction in social studies matter, you can check out these books that are right over here to my right. It may be on your left, but it is to my right. So some of those books that I love so very, very much are Warriors Don't Cry by Melba Pattillo-Beals, I to Be the Queen by Michelle Duster, and Barracoon by Zora Neale Hurston. I'm a reader. I love to read. So hopefully you'll find those texts engaging as well. So now let's get right in. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. We're getting into the learning. Listen, engagement begins with preparation. Now you'll notice I have that pre in bold. Yes, because these are things that you have to do in advance. The best lessons, the best instruction begin with pre or preparation. Active participation in application of learned concepts only happens when you are intentional about preparation. So if you're in a virtual learning environment, if you're in a hybrid learning environment, I would challenge you to use asynchronous assignments to prepare for active learning in class, or what we used to call a flipped classroom. Don't spend time with students in front of you doing things that they can do independently. Reserve that synchronous time for questions, for discussions, for activities that require higher order thinking. Think about it. When a student goes to a chorus class, a band class, an art class, they get in there and they start doing. So what do your students have to do? They have to do social studies. And remember, as an instructor, it's okay for you to do a dress rehearsal. Turn on that Zoom, turn on your Screencastify, and record yourself to make sure that when your students get in that classroom, they are ready, ready, ready. Listen, here are the three pre's that you can consider. Pre-record your direct instruction, pre-plan for misconceptions, and preserve whole group time for activity. Yes, catch that. Preserve the time that you have in front of your students for activities, for ways for them to do social studies. We've got to use that time that we have face-to-face with students or face-to-face via camera for engaging opportunities. Now, let's talk about some strategies and considerations. When you're doing engaging activities in your classroom, it can be easy to get lost in, oh, that looks fun. But it is important for you to consider and explain the educational purpose and real life application of class activities. You've got to create a climate where risk-taking is rewarded by establishing norms for discourse. One tool, one skill that gets lost in these days and times is civic and civil discourse. Students need to be able to have conversations around topics that may not necessarily feel comfortable, but that are necessary. We call those courageous conversations. Courageous conversations begin in classrooms where students are able to have open discourse, but be sure to establish some norms because we want to make sure that the environment is comfortable and welcoming for all learners. And it is important for you as an instructor to practice instructional immediacy. That means use student names when you're talking to them, because these are ways that we build empathy, that we create a collaborative learning environment where all students feel safe, and even your reluctant learners will begin to participate in your discourse in your classroom. Use real-time feedback and encouragement, and create meaningful opportunities for connection and collaboration. I know that was a lot to take in. So remember, I told you this is all about learning your way. So if you need to press pause, you can do so to take it all in. I'm about to now give you a couple of great ideas to incorporate in your classroom to get learning happening and transform what it looks like. First are our jigsaw projects. Consider allowing each member of a group to complete just a part of an assignment. Upon completion, the pieces can be joined together to form a finished project and or to get a complete understanding. This way, no student feels overwhelmed with thinking they have to know and learn everything. And students get a chance to teach their peers what they have learned. The best way for you to learn something is to teach it to someone else. Here's another activity. It's called 1 minute whiteboard. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute to share everything you know. Students have 1 minute to fill up a whiteboard. Now listen, this could be the whiteboard in your classroom. This could be a piece of chart paper, or it could be a blank slide. Okay, we're not getting fancy here. They just need a blank slate upon which they can create, and they fill it with everything that they already know about a topic. This is a great way to check that prior knowledge, to get students' brains working and see what they know already, to ensure that you're able to maximize that instructional time. So those are some strategies and considerations. Now, when we're talking about a social studies classroom, here's the thing that I believe is critically important. You have to lead with inquiry. You as an instructor have to get out of the way. You cannot be the sage on the stage. Lead with inquiry. Social studies instruction should prepare students to reconcile conflicting claims, to consider multiple perspectives, to evaluate the reliability of sources, to engage in civic and civil discourse, to investigate and analyze everything. Yes, they need to be able to investigate and analyze everything. That's what we as social scientists call corroboration. They need to be able to look at various sources and see how they relate to each other, and it helps students to determine if these sources are reliable. Artifacts help to bring social studies alive. So by putting these artifacts in front of students, it allows them to feel it. It allows them to do it. It allows them to really get engaged with that content. Inquiry-based learning allows students to discover knowledge instead of just giving them knowledge. Inquiry develops critical thinking to both think and understand. You remember when you were in elementary school and they would give you a test to see how many words you could read per minute? Well, that's like calling words. But the real understanding comes with that comprehension, that deep understanding, when you can retell, when you can tell what happened in the story that you read. And that is what inquiry does for social studies. It moves it from just calling words to comprehension, that deep understanding. Inquiry enhances students' ability to apply concepts across topics. I always used to tell my students, we don't learn in a box. Our learning is interdependent. It goes with us everywhere. It does not start or end the minute you enter or leave a classroom. Inquiry increases accountability and self-directed learning. We have to teach our students to guide their own learning process. That is, after all, how learning gets to a place where we can begin to integrate it throughout our lives. And inquiry requires students to process and think about what they're learning. So we're moving from rote recollection of facts and dates to a deeper understanding and process in what they are thinking and understanding. So let me share one tool that I love to use that comes ready to use, okay? As teachers and as when I was an instructional coach, I would always tell teachers, I would say, what do you need from me today? And I knew the first two answers would be money and time. So I would say, I don't have any money to give you, and I cannot put more time on the clock. But what I can do is to provide you with strategies and skills to help maximize your time. And this right here, this is that tool. This is the Stanford History Education Group, or SHEG. They have a series called Reading Like a Historian. The Reading Like a Historian curriculum engages students in historical inquiry. Each lesson revolves around a central historical question and features sets of primary documents designed for groups of students with diverse reading skills and abilities. Historical thinking is introduced, and students begin to think about things in different ways. This is where we begin to understand that perspective matters, where we have to identify and share those untold narratives with our students. So here's an example of an activity that comes directly from SHEG, and it is free. Listen, make sure you go to that PDF, click on the link, and create you a free account. Yes, I said free. Here's an example of an activity. It's called Lunchroom Fight. So you would tell the students to imagine that they're the principal of a school, and they just found out that there was a fight in the lunchroom during lunch. You've asked many students and teachers who witnessed the fight to write down what they saw and who they think started the fight. Unfortunately, you've received so many conflicting accounts that disagree about important details of the fight, like who started it, when it started, who was involved. But here's the thing. No one who has given you an account is lying. Why? Because historical things happen in the perspective, in the context of those who view it. So this kind of activity allows students to begin to think about how perspective matters. One person might have been standing in the lunch line when the fight broke out, and the fight broke out near a table. A teacher might have been sitting right at the table, but she might have been checking her email or grading papers. A student involved in the fight is going to have a very different perspective, and is going to have some additional background information to help you understand the context of that fight. This is one of many different lessons you're going to find on the Reading Like a Historian site. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to take you and show you all of these different websites. But if you want to, right now, you can do what? Press pause and go and click on that link to explore the Reading Like a Historian curriculum. Now, let's talk about one of my absolute favorites, SOS. Will someone help me? Yes, this is Discovery Education SOS Strategies. Now, Discovery Education is a paid platform, but you can access the SOS strategies free of charge. That link is in that PDF as well. So make sure you go get it and you bookmark it. I love SOS strategies because they provide you with tons of ideas that you can use to immediately amp up engagement. Just like that image, you go from to The tools and the strategies that you'll find on SOS include support for citing evidence, developing vocabulary, making inferences, and formative assessments. Let's look at an example. Here are two SOS strategies. This first one is called Half the Picture. Half the Picture is a teaching strategy that requires students to use new information to complete an image. This active learning strategy ensures that students are building on prior knowledge and assimilating new knowledge. So here you can see, I begin to reveal a portion of the picture. You allow students to use a strategy. You could use I see, I think, I wonder. They could write these strategies down, but they begin to consider what this picture is. And as you unveil different parts of the picture, students begin to build on that understanding. Any ideas who's in this image? These are two women who I love. One of them, the one on the right, is my shero. I love her. Yes, that's Miss Shirley Chisholm. I love her. If you've not read Unbought and Unbossed, it should have been on that list I gave you at the beginning, but be sure to go check it out. And that is how Half the Picture works. Now, this is just one strategy that you're going to find on the Discovery Education website. This other strategy over here is sort of a combination of Half the Picture and Snowball Fight. Snowball Fight uses a lively game to encourage students to identify information from a digital resource. And when we were in the classroom face-to-face, I loved it because it got the students up and moving. So you provide the students with a source and everyone takes out a sheet of paper. They write down a fact or some information from that source, and then they ball the paper up. And then in the middle of the classroom, everyone throws their paper on the floor in the middle of the classroom. And then you go and get one that was not yours. You show the image again, and students begin to add to it. You could definitely do this particular activity as you go through half the picture. Here's an example of how you might do it, where students are, if you want to sort of tier that understanding, where they're answering different questions based on which round you are in. These opportunities allow scholars to do critical skills that social scientists must have, which are create, synthesize, and challenge their thoughts. So, SOS, be sure to go check it out. Next up, I would love to talk to you about Slides Mania. Now, if you aren't using Slides Mania, listen, you should be using it. I use it to create this presentation I'm using here today. Slides Mania is all about presentation and packaging. It gives you free Google Slides themes for education, but not just education, all kinds of fun stuff. There are treasure hunts on there. There are game boards on there. There are notebooks on there that you can use to build a backpack for students in your classroom, all kinds of things. And I just want you to know, I love Slides Mania because I believe in maximizing time. I don't want to have to start over, and I definitely don't believe in reinventing the wheel. I like to innovate, but if it's done already, I'm going to go and get what has been done already. So be sure to check out slidesmania.com. And again, it is in the link at the end of the presentation. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Flipgrid, but it is everything to amplify student voice. Flipgrid is all about student voice and student choice. Flipgrid gives you an amazing opportunity to get all students involved, to hear from them. And guess what? It's free. Yes, it is free. You can engage and empower every voice by recording and sharing short, awesome videos together. It gives you the opportunity to do perhaps daily learning reflections. You can do reading and book talks. You can do project demonstrations, peer review, or persuasive debate. I've also included a link for the Educator's Guide to Flipgrid, and we're going to go and see what Flipgrid is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link here. And it's going to take you to my Flipgrid board. Here on Flipgrid, this is just an opportunity for you to practice and say hello. So you can see here, I've recorded a video, but basically students will just hit that button that says record. They will record their responses. They can see each other's responses. They can like each other's responses. They can comment on each other's responses on Flipgrid. I love Flipgrid. It's a super cool tool. Now, I want to talk to you all about Google Forms. Listen, it is time for you to get information. Google Forms is, the OG of instructional technology, but can be used in so many different ways. I like to use Google Forms to do digital breakouts in my classroom. So let me show you an example of a digital breakout using Google Forms. You are going to love it. All right, now let's get information using Google Forms. So this is an example of a digital breakout using Google Forms. So this is the student view, okay? I just want you to see that, but now we're gonna go to the create view. The key for using Google Forms for digital breakouts is that you must include sections in your form. Sections will allow you to send students to a certain place in the form based on how they answer. So what I like to do when I am creating a Google form is to decide how many sections I want and go ahead and create those sections. So here you can see this is my first section. I've entitled it, Let's Get Started. It says your first clue is before your eyes. Let me help you out. 3 letters, all caps, and 4 numbers. So then I put in this image. You can see here I have the letters in pink that I want them to use, and there's a Roman numeral there. When I put in the answer, what I have done is to put in the correct answer, okay, based on the Roman numeral that is showing, and students will get some feedback based on the answer that they put into the form. Now, they have to break out. Okay, it's their first clue. It's locked. If they don't put the answer in, then they can't get past it. Then this next session talks about, well, why should I use digital breakouts in my classroom? I've given them some more clues. It says, here are your clues. They each represent a numeral. Put the numbers in the correct order to open the lock. There are no repeating numbers. So I've given them a picture of a newspaper article that is about the school integration in Little Rock. If you know anything about it, you know they were called the Little Rock 9. So as you can see here, that first number is 9. Here is a globe, okay, social studies teachers, geography. You see Europe is highlighted on that globe. We know Europe is the second smallest continent, so that second number is 2. And then here's a leaf, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves or sections on that little branch there, and the third number is 5. So again, it's very easy to use Google Forms to create these clues, okay? And then there's another section that is just giving them some information. So it's a great way to build in information to teach concepts. They don't have to have an answer for this section. And then this last section, it says, it's really that simple. What have we learned so far? Digital breakouts are not, for my old school teachers, you know this is an overhead projector. So digital breakouts are not over your head. And so then they would put in the answer here overhead. Now let's look at it in action, excuse me. So here we go. It says, let's get started. Student engagement party. What is the password? So I can put it in here. And then put in the answer. And then it takes me to where I need to go. And then it's why I use digital breakouts. Again, I just gave you all the answers, but I just want you to see how it works. Put in 9 to 5, hit next. This is a section where I told you just are giving them information. And it's really that simple. What have we learned so far? Digital breakouts are not. Type in that answer over your head. They're simple and easy to do. And then it says, yay, you did it. You broke out. Okay. So those are the digital breakouts using Google Forms. Now, let's talk about something that I love, which is Nearpod. I love Nearpod. I'm the Nearpod girl. I think I told you all at the beginning, I actually, my 9 to 5 is that I am the brand ambassador for Nearpod for the East Coast. So I get to talk to people about it all day long, and I absolutely love it. I love Nearpod because it allows you to integrate technology in meaningful ways so that you can transform teaching and learning. Whenever I talk to teachers about using technology, I always tell them we want to use technology in ways where it makes sense. If you don't need to use technology to do something, well, then don't. There's no need to just use technology for technology's sake. We should use it to transform teaching and learning. And I also love Nearpod because it allows you to obtain real-time data and make informed instructional decisions. So let's look at how that works. There are over 15,000 lessons in the Nearpod lesson library, including social studies. I'm going to just click this search button right here, and you all can see all of these different social studies lessons that are available in the Nearpod platform. You can use these lessons as is, or you can easily customize them. I want to click into one so that you can see what I mean when I say it's easy. So I clicked on the lesson. I'm going to click add to my lessons. I'm going to click show in my lessons. And just like that, I could project this lesson and it's ready to roll. It comes with teacher materials, essential questions, shows you how to break down the lesson. And it's so simple to build in these places where you can do formative assessment. Students can engage and learn right in that lesson. I'm going to include a link for a student-paced Nearpod lesson so you can go in and experience all of those things in Nearpod. Now, I know that I've told you about a lot of information. Remember, I told you from the beginning to be sure to press pause whenever you need to go back and look at some things. But here are a few of my favorite tools. These are a few of my favorite tools. I love technology. And so I put together here this collection of tools that I used when I was in the classroom to help transform teaching and learning. And in that PDF, each one of these tools is hyperlinked, so you can click on it to go and explore all of these technology tools. Now, what I would love to do is to just go over and show you what those websites look like for the ones that we've not yet gone into. So we're going to get ready to go and do just a little bit more exploration. So this is the Economic Freedom Index. I love this website because students get to explore economics in a different way. So if you're looking for a tool to support learning and economics in your classroom, this is a great tool to do that. Students get to look at how countries rank against each other. They get to look at those various types of freedoms. When you click on a particular country, it will break down their rule of law, government size, open markets. This is just a great resource to use when you're talking about economics in the classroom, to give students a present day view of economics and how economic freedom connects with the type of government and the types of resources that are available in a country. This next site is Spent. I love Spent because Spent is actually a module that gives students a real world experience with financial literacy. That's very often a topic that's left out of our curriculum, but something that most people say, hey, I wish they taught financial literacy to me when I was in the classroom. So when we go into this website, it will say accept the challenge. And students actually will choose a job. So there's several jobs that they can choose from. Students will go through, it takes them through an entire month. So they choose a job. They see how much they're going to earn with that job. And then they have to make real world decisions like choosing an insurance plan. And various results and various scenarios will come up. They have to choose where they want to live, if they live closer to their job, if they live further away from their job. All of these things play a part in financial literacy. And so that is the Spent module. I told you about Slides Mania, but all you have to do is go to Google, type Slides Mania, and it should be the first result that comes up. And what you'll see here is that there are tons of templates that you can use through Google Slides or PowerPoint. So these are some of the educational templates that she has, interactive templates that are here that you can use, games, true, false, digital notebooks, all of those things in the Slides Mania platform. It's a really cool tool. I love using it. And then we have Sheg, which I told you about, the Reading Like a Historian series. You can create a free account. All you have to do is click there. It'll allow you to create an account, and you can see all of these different lessons, classroom resources, and materials that are available on the platform, the Stanford History Education Group platform. All right, as promised, I told you I would share a PDF with you with all of the information that we covered together. On the first page, you're going to find my contact information, as you can see here. And on the second page, when you scroll to it, you're going to see that image of a few of my favorite tools. But here's the really cool part. All of these images on this page are linked. So if you want to access the presentation I did today, just click down here where it says click for the presentation from today. And that document will open up for you, and you'll have access to all of those slides. If you want to access the student-paced Nearpod lesson that I referenced, just go ahead and click where it says Nearpod, and it will go ahead and open up that student-paced experience for you, and you'll be able to jump right into a Nearpod lesson as a student. If you want to explore some of those SOS strategies that I mentioned, here's the link. You can see here all of these different strategies that you can click on. They have PDFs with them. They have videos, everything that you need to ensure that you know how to implement SOS in your classroom. Here's the link for a video that will show you how to create the Google Forms that we reviewed, that Spent module, Slides Mania, and don't forget, follow me on social media. Here's my Twitter information. Tweet, let the world know about everything that we learned about today. There's so much to learn. There's so many spaces that we can grow in. So you have all of this right here at your fingertips. And it's been an amazing learning experience. Be sure to make use of that PDF. If you have any additional questions, come and check us out at the Q&A. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Again, my name is Quinay Jackson. You can follow me at QJacksonSSRocks on Twitter, on Instagram, You can find information regarding my company, Overflow.Innovate.Lead, at www.overflow.innovate.lead.com. It's been amazing talking with you this morning about transformative social studies instruction with technology. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day.